Good evening, everyone. I call the Wednesday, June 12, 2024 Planning Board meeting to order. If you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please stand and uncover. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. Welcome, everyone. It's bright in here. Excuse the visor. All right, we'll start the meeting with our open forum. Anyone wishing to speak to the board on any subject that you choose may please join us at the podium. Y'all have obviously no interest, so I'll close the open forum. Swearing in, is there a public meeting tonight, Tatiana? Do we have to swear in? Please do so.
Please raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 1 on the agenda is the approval of minutes for May 8th. Anyone wishing to modify, change, add, comment upon said minutes? Oh, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Approval passed. Item 2, CA 2024 City of Oldsmar Code Amendment to revise Section 22.1 definitions defining educational facility. Section 3.21 Oldsmar Town Center to remove primary and secondary schools from the list of prohibited uses. Oldsmar Town Center District, and Section 3.73 Town Center Commercial Residential to allow educational facilities conditional use. Tatiana, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good evening. Tatiana Childress, City of Oldsmar Planning and Redevelopment Director. So this is CA 2402, text amendment to allow educational facilities within the Town Center Commercial Residential TCCR District by conditional use. This is the location map. So the TCCR District, Town Center Commercial Residential District, runs along the Tampa Road corridor, and it's approximately 40 acres in size. It is bound by Bayview Boulevard, Burbank, State Street, and Tampa Road. The Town Center Commercial Residential Zoning District serves as a mixed-use area that combines commercial and residential uses within the intent to create a vibrant, diverse community environment. So post-pandemic, post-COVID-19, many offices vacated this district, and city staff also received multiple inquiries regarding the potential use of regarding the potential use for educational facilities within the Town Center Residential District. The current regulations for the Town Center Development Code prohibit primary and secondary schools to be located within this district. So a text amendment request was submitted for an educational facility as a conditional use by the Operation Jack's Village. Therefore, this is a text amendment request to allow to amend the Town Center Development Code of the City of Oldsmar, amending Section 2.1 of the Land Development Code to include the definitions for educational facilities, and Section 3.2.1 to remove primary or secondary schools from the list of prohibited uses within the Oldsmar Town Center, and also amendment to Section 3.7.3 to allow for educational facilities in the Town Center Commercial Residential District as a conditional use. The applicant also proposed the following definition for the educational facility. I will read this in the record. It's also part of your report. So educational facility, a building or campus designed and utilized for the purpose of formal education, encompassing a range of institutions from primary schools to universities, as well as specialized facilities catering to various educational needs such as early childhood education, vocational training, and continuing education. So like any other text amendment, the text amendment request was reviewed against the 3 conditions outlined in Section 3.13.2 of the Land Development Code. And the first condition is the amendment complies with the comprehensive plan and advances the purpose of the Land Development Code. So this amendment is consistent with the City of Oldsmar comprehensive plan, because our comprehensive plan corresponding land use category, the CRD category, already permits public and semi-public uses under the CRD land use category. The amendment also advances the purpose of the Land Development Code because the approval process will require a conditional use application, allowing for additional specific conditions and requirements to mitigate potential impacts such as traffic, noise, compatibility with adjacent uses, and maintaining the district's integrity and character. The second condition is the amendment will contribute to promote the community welfare. The proposed amendment to allow the educational facilities within the TCCR district under conditional use provisions is consistent with the goal of promoting the community's welfare because it has the potential to enhance the access to education, revitalize the vacant spaces, promote community engagement, and stimulate economic growth, improve the quality of life, attract families and professionals, and support sustainable development by creating a more vibrant and resilient and thriving community. The third condition is the amendment will not grant a special privilege to an individual property owner. The proposed amendment will allow the future applicants an equal opportunity to apply for a conditional use, and the conditional use within the entire TCCR district. And each conditional use application will be reviewed by city staff and also considered by city council according to section 3.7.3 conditional uses. Based upon the application meeting Land Development Code section 3.13.2, staff recommends that the city council authorize the city attorney to prepare an ordinance to amend section 2.1 of the Town Center Development Code to include the definitions of educational facility, amend section 3.2.1 to remove primary or secondary schools from the list of prohibited uses within the Oldsmar Town Center, and amend section 3.7.3 to allow educational facilities in the Town Center Residential Commercial District as a conditional use. Thank you. Open for any questions.
Do we have any questions? Questions? Who do we start with? Let's start on my right. Any questions of Tatiana?
Well, I'm familiar with Operation Jack's Village from just, they've always participated in the Celebrate Oldsmar parade, but I'm wondering, with wanting a space in the TCRR, what exactly is their intent? What services are they providing to the community?
Is this specific? There's no specific
there's no-
individual mentioned here.
Okay,
Is that right?
So the code amendment is just to allow the educational facilities.
Okay.
Each individual
doesn't
case
matter
for
what
the
the
conditional
educational
use
is. Okay.
will be evaluated by council later on when they bring, say, it's going to be an educational facility, primary, secondary school, from what we've discussed during the meeting. So it's a specialized school for kind of like a middle school age kids, maybe within Oldsmar.
okay,
So,
okay, that's what I was curious about. So, okay, thank you.
but we're not limiting it only to specialized schools. So we're opening this up to educational
Other
facilities that
educational
may include
facilities.
also the higher education. So we had another inquiry from the National University, who is also
Okay,
looking into
okay.
occupying the Baycare building. And we have the representatives from them in the meeting as well. So if you wanted to have additional information, I'm pretty sure they will be able to provide that information. But that will be, again, if this code amendment takes place, then next step will be to apply for the conditional use application to see if that particular school will be permitted within the town center district. And those conditional use applications, as I mentioned, they will be reviewed consistent with section 3.7.3 of the code. And there are several different criteria on how we, during the TCR, our technical review committee, we check for noise, buffers, traffic. Is there enough are there enough parking on that side? So we check all of those items, and we may put additional conditions to the conditional use, and
Okay.
then council ultimately makes the decision. So it's not an administrative, what we call item, so we don't just sign off on it. So it goes to the council, and the applicant presents to the council, and then if staff wanted to mitigate certain items, they may be required, like a traffic study, but not in this instance, it's an existing building, but maybe in the future development.
Okay.
In addition to, so this is our TCCR district, we also have some strict design guidelines that run with the Town Center Development Code, so any development, any future development who wanted to build a school, they will have to be consistent with the town center standards.
What's
So
already
architectural
there.
guidelines, so everything will have to be kind of like walkable, oriented to mixed-use development, so, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sir?
I think you answered my question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. Why was it prohibited in the TCCR? I mean, was there a reason? I mean, I think you mentioned sound and traffic, but were there any other reasons why it was prohibited?
So
Or is
I am
prohibited?
not 100% sure on this, but I believe it's because some of the educational facilities, they require higher buffers for alcohol sale facilities. Therefore, you see on your agenda item, you see another item where we're reducing those buffers because it's a mixed-use district. So if, for instance, a school rolls in next to the bar and then the bar goes out of business and then bar wants to move back into that location, they may be prohibited from moving in by strict zoning separation buffers. So I think because they wanted to promote back then, they wanted to promote like bars, clubs, mixed use, they decided to eliminate schools altogether. And if we're talking about public schools, well, I don't think the school board will build another public school here in Oldsmar, so it's really for private schools.
Yeah.
And that excludes also daycare, so I'm not sure, it was very difficult to regulate. So if you have a use that includes, say, some kind of like educational component to it, and they're located within the TCCR, for us on zoning, it was very difficult to approve them because we would have to classify them as a business, maybe like a dance studio or something like this. So, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Your turn.
My turn. So I have several questions. One of them is, since it could be like a primary educational facility, would there need to be a playground?
I am not sure about those specifics.
Okay.
So that would be probably from the developer when they submit a plan to us. We don't provide guidelines for daycare design. So from the school, there are probably some provisions on a state level which allows, which requires. I am not 100% sure on this. I can get back with you. I know that there was one in Tampa, was in the commercial building and occupying the first floor. So what they had indoor playground. So it was kind of like an indoor gym. So they still had that play area, but it was all indoor because in Tampa you have building on top of the building, so there was no outdoor. But the daycare was operational for years, and yes, so they may be required, and it may need to be indoors if they don't have space, or it may need to be designed. I'm not sure on that.
Okay. So then another question I have, because I wasn't certain which area was the TCCR,
Sure.
would anything have to change to that property if something were built? Like, would we need a new detention area for water flow?
If it's an existing facility, we check for what we call nonconformities. So a lot of newer buildings in the TCCI, they already meet the design standards for the stormwater runoff. So if they were built after 2021 or 2001, they may even meet the current design standards. So on the particular building that's in question, which is not being discussed today, I do not believe they need to do anything, maybe just some landscaping. So most of these buildings, they will probably just have to provide additional landscaping, if anything. And maybe some bicycle parking. Bike racks were not promoted in 2001, so yes.
Okay. And then my final question is, and I think you've already addressed this, before anything is approved for a facility, for a
Future facility.
future facility or for an educational company to come in, the impact on traffic flow in that area would be considered.
Would be one of the conditions of the conditional use approval, correct? Yes.
Okay. And then my final thing is in the amendment itself. In the third sentence, the Y is left off of secondary. Sorry, I'm compliance manager. I see all the missing letters. So it's on page 11 of 25. So it starts whereas city staff. So the third sentence down, primary or secondary schools, it just secondary R. So the Y is missing.
I see it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a good catch. Sometimes cabs don't catch the spell check.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You answered my question I had as to why initially it was prohibited.
Again, this is my assumption, so there might be some other.
And now, looking at the map, so this is only for the TCCR?
Correct.
So the businesses outside of the TCCR, do they have, what is the requirement there? Do they have the prohibition or no prohibition?
So that will be discussed during the second item with maps and details in the second ordinance. So if you reviewed the second case, it provides the information pertaining to the buffers in different zoning districts and the sales of alcohol beverages and in which districts they're permitted or not, and how those buffers are applied and in which districts they are excluded. So outside of this district, so we have 5 more mixed-use districts. So this will be the TCCN, which is in light blue here. It will be the ROR residential office retail, which is kind of like in orange in here. And then we have MUPD, mixed use, which is not captured on this map. And then we have ICP, industrial plan development. That's in light gray in here. So those districts will be described on the next case.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sir?
Well, my question was why also, but I do know why, because I looked it up. In 2007, the city of Oldsmar enacted a special ordinance, Chapter 39, which prohibits loitering near schools, 300 yards or 300 feet in any direction. So a football field in any direction. So no loitering. So no coffee shops, no restaurants, no bars within 300 feet of a school. So that was the reason that these schools were eliminated from the TCCR. So they eliminated those schools so that it wouldn't eliminate anything else around them. So that's the reason that it's there.
So again, I'm not sure how these items are addressed in the mixed-use district. So the mixed-use district,
Well,
you're supposed to have the mix of uses, including daycare. So if you consider
I
a
understand,
daycare,
yeah, it seems to be loosely enforced. The section 39 goes on to say that if any other uses are in conflict with the prohibition on schools for Chapter 39, Chapter 39 takes precedent. So not only would we have to change this text, we would have to eliminate all of Chapter 39.
we'll review Chapter 39, and you may see it next planning board then. So again, this is just a preliminary text amendment. Thank you. Very good observation and research.
Any other questions for staff? I see that in these, the packet, we do have Operations Jack Village in here, so this
Yes.
must kind of lean toward accommodating this organization.
Yes.
And where are they interested in landing?
So there is a building behind the Baycare building, off of Lee Street, behind Hennessy's.
And how far is Hennessy's from that building?
It's about 150 feet from building to building.
Well, that just changes the rub, doesn't it, on the second agenda item?
Well, that's why we're presenting the second agenda item as well. So these two cases, they're kind of like concurrent.
Well, they're a full liquor bar,
Yeah.
and I have to play these two together, you know, I just,
And we
like,
have
wait a minute now.
Primrose, and we have Walgreens right next to them selling alcohol. So, and we have other mixed-use districts. So
so this is a school we're talking, changing for schools, and schools becomes 300 feet in the next agenda item, and I hate to play these two together, and is that building 350 feet from Hennessy's?
So
We don't
what
know that.
the second amendment that we're doing is to eliminate those buffers within the mixed-use districts of which the TCCR district is part of. So for the residential, those buffers are already loosened up, so we don't have those requirements for the residential. So residential could build right next to the Tennessee or be located above the Hennessy's. For schools and churches, they're still in place. We've checked other municipalities like City of Dunedin, Safety Harbor, and they have these buffers reduced for their mainstream districts, for their mixed-use districts, just because they understand the proximity of the mixed uses within the mixed-use district and the intent of the district. So that's why we're proposing the second item to, school can move in. So if we permit the school can move in, but Hennessy's, if they wanted to move in within the current provisions, they would have to stay 350 feet from the side of the building of that new building. Therefore, we are proposing the second amendment as well, which I will go in details with the second
It's
item.
300 feet from the property line, not the building.
Corner of the building, corner of the building.
The code specifically prescribes, I think, where you measure it from and the buffer
Except
where.
whenever it's in conflict with Chapter 39. Chapter 39 says from the property line.
Well, it looks like we also need to review Chapter 39 in greater detail, bring the Chapter 39 to Technical Review Committee, and address the inconsistencies within Chapter 39 as well.
There's a lot of details in play here, and we don't want to hurt one business by accommodating another, of course.
Correct.
And then we got to be very careful about that, because we've made some mistakes in the past. So, do I have any more questions of staff? No, I don't. So, do we have any, thank you, Tatiana. We're through
Welcome.
with Tatiana. Do the applicant wish to speak?
Okay. State your name. My name is
Name and
Stacy.
address, please.
Okay. Amber Stevens, 318 Lafayette Boulevard. See this. Okay. So I'm speaking on behalf of Jack's Village. In the heart of Oldsmar, nestled
We
downtown.
can't, that's not working.
It's not.
Does the other mic not function?
I don't really like it.
You don't have to lean down to it, it hears you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah?
Okay. In the heart of Oldsmar, nestled downtown and easy access from our neighborhoods, stands a remarkable building, a beacon of hope, learning, and community empowerment. Its walls echo with the promise of a bright future for our youth, and its purpose extends far beyond bricks and mortar. Let me introduce you to this transformative space, a place where dreams take flight and resilience finds its home. Operation Jack's Village is actively seeking to expand its reach to adolescent families and collaborate with the organizations in Upper Tampa Bay area, specifically here in Oldsmar. This organization has identified an appropriate building to complete its SOAR initiative, which is in its third and final business impact unit of Operations Jack's Village. This primary goal is the unit to create a local education environment in partnership with a reputable education company. By doing so, they aim to address the mental health and academic gaps faced by our middle and high school students in this area. The plan also includes economic development opportunities, such as proposed partnership pipeline and apprenticeships and internships. Additionally, implementing this plan would significantly reduce the burden on Pinellas County Schools' transportation system for our students that attend Carwise Middle School and Eastlake High School. Most importantly, this initiative aims to improve adolescents' connection to Oldsmar through local education projects, ultimately reducing excessive stress related to travel, homework hours, and fostering stronger family and social connections. Some of these programs we've been working on are critical to the well-being and education gaps experienced by our next generation. These initiatives aim to address mental health risk, enhance education outcomes, and create economic development opportunities for local pre-adolescents, adolescents, and young adults. Our partnership with AEI provides an umbrella of education offerings tailored to the needs and interests of our local youth, contributing to the goals of SOAR. Collaborating with AEI and the local Veterans Foreign of Wars further supports continued learning and strategic family readiness group connections, expands our goals to collaborate on mental health for our local veterans, a crucial objective for military adolescents and families in our own hometown and potentially worldwide. Our community in Oldsmar is an ideal setting for this innovative educational offering. Feasibility studies and local feedback demonstrate its suitability. The purchase of this building enables you to expand your mission, supporting adolescents and their families in Oldsmar to not only survive, but thrive and soar. Additionally, collaboration with other mission-aligned organizations in the great Upper Tampa Bay area, such as Oldsmar Cares, Oldsmar VFW, strengthens the impacts of our efforts. And Miss Liz Martin is here if you have any questions for her. She is our founder.
Any questions for the founder?
No.
Any other input from the applicant? No questions from the applicant. Thank you very much. Is this a public hearing? This is not, it is? It is? All right, so I will open a public hearing. If we have any proponents who would like to speak in favor in this item, please address them at the podium. Seeing none. Would anyone like to speak in opposition to this item? Do I have a proponent? Oh, I am
Proponent?
Proponent.
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 Good evening. My name is Dr. Joe Stiff. I'm the president of National University of Health Sciences. This is Mr.
Address, please.
Address is
Business address will work.
200 East Roosevelt Road.
Thank you.
And this is Mr. Ron Menching. He's our business vice president. And we are not on the specific. We are kind of an add-on or kind of just happenstance would like the ordinance changed. We are looking at moving into the Bay Health building. We currently have a campus in Pinellas Park. The university was founded in 1906. To give you an idea, we walked by the City Hall today and saw the Oldsmobile, so we were around before the Oldsmobile, to give you an idea. We're looking to move the campus up to this area, and we have our programs are graduate medical training, and I don't have any awareness of any sort of issue with higher education and an ordinance with the proximity of alcohol sales. But this is a wonderful town, and we would love the opportunity to change what's permitted in the zoning. And we think we would bring a lot of positive aspects and influences to the area. Again, graduate medical students and highly trained faculty and staff. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for this proponents?
I-
I have none. You have one?
Question.
Help yourself.
You said that you didn't see any issue with the proximity of alcohol sales. Do you have any kind of basis for that, or?
Yeah, in any of our accreditation, I've never run across any issue with the proximity of that kind of establishment. In any of our accreditation, either with the state of Florida, we also have another campus in Illinois. In either of those states, that is not an issue for us. Now, for a primary school coming in, that may be something they would have to do with either a state, probably not federal, but maybe state, I don't know. Again, that's primary and state. But for private higher education, I am not aware that that would be an issue for us.
Beyond accreditation, how about with the academics, with the students? Do you have any
Now,
information on that?
our average age student is 27 or 28. These are students who have, at the very least, bachelor's degrees. Most of them have advanced degrees as well. So that's not an issue for us. And we're familiar with the area. We did a lot of due diligence looking around the area and what other businesses were available and what might meet our needs and what we would bring to the communities, because that's a pillar of our institution.
Any other questions of this gentleman? Seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
for
time.
coming.
Yeah.
Any other proponents which to speak? Seeing none, I seek opponents for this. Seeing none, we'll move on. Any written comments sent in to us on this issue?
Haven't received any.
Yeah, reading none. I will continue to close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. I seek a motion on this ordinance. I will entertain a motion on this ordinance.
Accept? Motion to accept the land
Please,
use change?
please read it as you would,
Oh, sorry.
like to send it toward the council. Doesn't have to be in full.
Motion
I
to-
know
I'm learning.
there's a curve here.
Motion to accept the City of Oldsmar Code Amendment to revise Section 2.1 definitions defining educational facilities, Section 3.2.1 Oldsmar Town Center to remove primary or secondary schools from the list of prohibited uses within the Oldsmar Town Center District, and Section 3.7.3 Town Center Commercial Residential District to allow educational facilities as a conditional use. Please.
Presented to council, or
Presented
sent to
to-
council as presented would work,
Yes,
if I may.
if you may.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I seek a second.
A second.
A second. All in favor of this motion signify by saying, oh, it's a roll call vote. Thank you.
Board Member Villafana?
Yes.
Board Member Santana?
Yes.
Board Member Sack?
Yes.
Board Member Kirby?
No.
Board Member Caldwell?
No.
And Chair Ranbier?
I say yes, so
Motion passes 4-2.
thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item 3, CA 2403, City of Oldsmar Code Amendment to revise subsections 14, alcoholic beverages, providing updated Florida statutes, section 14, addressing minimum distance requirement, mixed-use zoning districts. Tatiana, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you.
I skipped some numbers in that, so we know what we're talking about.
So this is CA 2403, alcoholic beverages sales, text amendment. The Land Development Code Section 14.6 provides for alcoholic beverage on premises consumption and distancing requirements. The following are the minimum distance requirements between the on-premises alcoholic beverages sale establishments and specific land uses. The distance shall be measured along a straight line connecting the nearest point of the outside wall of the establishment engaged in the sales of premises alcoholic beverage and the property line of such use. This provision of a minimum distance requirement does not apply with regards to residential uses that are part of the MUPD, Mixed Use Plan Development, TCCN, Town Center Commercial Neighborhood, and TCCR zoning district. The table below provides the current provisions for all of the other exclusions for the buffers. So again, the residential is currently excluded in all of our mixed-use zoning districts. With that being said, the ROR, which is the oldest kind of like established mixed-use residential district, permits all of the C2 uses, but it's a mixed-use district because it's residential, office, retail. As a housekeeping item, we add for clarity to the code, the Land Development Code 14.6 will be updated to include the ROR to the list of those districts as well. So as you see in your agenda item, we also included the ROR to the list of the mixed-use district. You'll see it as an underline in your proposed text amendment. And I've distributed an updated text amendment because we included in one section, but it also appeared in two other sections. So we just have, as a housekeeping item, because ROR permits the C2 uses. Anywhere where you where you would see C2 in the ordinance, we also added the ROR to clarify the code application. So then, going back in the background, the city features several mixed-use zoning districts, which I've already enumerated. So the TCCR, MUPD, TCCN. And these districts are designed to encourage a mix of uses such as restaurants, bars, various commercial and residential spaces at higher densities and intensities. This mix of uses attracts residents, workers, and visitors, creating an active urban atmosphere essential for a vibrant and economically dynamic environment. To promote an equitable environment that supports the growth of diverse businesses without favoring specific entities, City initiated a code amendment to reevaluate the distance requirements within the existing mixed-use districts. A review of neighboring municipalities, including Safety Harbor and City of Dunedin, revealed that they have exempted or reduced distance buffers in their main district and downtown mixed-use districts. So these cities recognize the importance of flexibility in these high-density mixed-use areas to support a vibrant and economically dynamic environment. By adopting similar approaches, Oldsmar can align with the best practices in the region and by promoting a thriving urban landscape that attracts businesses, residents, visitors, and fosters community engagement and economic growth. Again, this is the map where we have zoning districts that permit sales of alcoholic beverages on premises and off premises. So, and within this map, you'll see that this is the TCCR, that's a mixed use. TCCN is a mixed use. ROR is a mixed use. And ROR we have here and we have here. So ROR, that's your Walgreens in here with Primrose. And the C2 is not a mixed use. So I just wanted to point out that the C2 district is not a mixed use district, so it will not be applied to the C2. So this is a request for a text amendment to section 14.6.3.2 of the Land Development Code, removing distance requirements of alcoholic beverages sales establishments in the MUPD, TCCN, TCCR, and ROR zoning districts. In addition, the request includes amending the alcoholic beverages section to reflect current Florida statute references, and for clarity, to include the ROR district into the list of permitted districts. The text amendment request was reviewed against the three conditions outlined in section 3.13.2. The text amendment complies with the comprehensive plan and advances the purpose of the Land Development Code. The comprehensive plan requires orderly and concise development and design practices. The comprehensive plan emphasizes fostering vibrant, economically sustainable urban areas that integrate residential, commercial, and recreational uses. By allowing greater flexibility for businesses in the TCCR, TCCN, ROR, and MUPD districts, the amendment supports the plan's vision of creating active, walkable neighborhoods. Additionally, the LDC aims to promote balanced growth, encourage economic development, and enhance the quality of life for the residents. Adjusting the distance requirements for these mixed-use areas directly contributes to these goals by facilitating a diverse mix of uses that enriches the urban character and stimulates local economies. The second condition is the amendment will contribute to promote the community welfare. The amendment will contribute to promoting the community's welfare by creating a more active and economically diverse environment. Reducing or exempting distance buffers allows for a greater variety of businesses, including those that sell alcoholic beverages, to operate within the mixed-use district. This diversity enhances the urban experience, attracting residents, visitors, and tourists, and encouraging social interaction and community engagement. The increased business activity and foot traffic can lead to safer, more lovely streets, improving public safety and the overall sense of community. Furthermore, the economic benefits from a thriving business environment can lead to improved public services and infrastructure, thereby elevating the quality of life for all residents. The third condition, the amendment will not grant a special privilege to an individual property owner. The proposed amendment ensures fairness and does not grant special privileges to any individual property owner. Instead, it provides a consistent regulatory framework applicable to all properties within the designated mixed-use districts by uniformly applying the exempted distance requirements across the TCCR, TCCN, ROR, and the MUPD districts. The amendment creates an equitable environment that supports the growth of diverse businesses without favoring specific entities. And based on the above discussion and the review against Section 3.13.3, Standards for Approval, staff recommends that the City Council authorize the city attorney to prepare an ordinance to amend Section 14.6.3.2 of the Land Development Code. This amendment would remove the distance requirements for alcoholic beverages sales establishments in the MUPD, TCC, and TCCR and ROR, mixed-use zoning districts, and revise subsection 14.6.1, 14.6.2, and 14.6.6 alcoholic beverages to provide updated Florida statute reference, as well as to include the ROR district into the list of permitted districts for code clarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. This is not a public hearing. It's simply a ordinance change. I seek a motion on this ordinance from the board.
Motion.
A second? Could die for lack of second, can't it?
Second.
A second. All right, let's discuss this. What do y'all think? You want to start? Any questions that we can
really.
still ask?
Yeah.
Questions of Tatiana and of ourselves.
Have there been any, I guess, concerns from businesses about the current regulations? Do they feel that the current regulations are constricting businesses, that they're seeking this change?
Well, I don't think anybody really knows about it except us right now, right?
Okay.
I do have a question about this chart, but you guys go first. I'm last.
I have a question. Under number 2, that the amendment will contribute to promote the community's welfare, what standard or what study was done to come to the assertion that the sale of alcoholic beverages enhances the urban experience?
So we had, again, what we call a PAC poll. So it's the Pinellas Advisory Committee that the city of Oldsmar is part of. And local municipalities were initiating similar amendments to their mixed-use districts. We reviewed multiple different municipal ordinances for the reduced buffers in the mixed-use districts. And by providing, if you go into the mixed-use intent, the intent there is to have businesses in close proximity. It could be a daycare right next to a bar. They have different hours of operation. So daycare usually closes at 5, bar maybe roll in there at 5. So there's no conflict there. The intent was always for mixed-use districts to have this kind of like mixture of uses.
Thank you.
I have a question, because I'm trying to understand this, the full picture of it. So this would remove the alcohol buffer. So like the building that Jack's Village is looking at is 100 feet from Hennessy's, is that right?
Plus or minus
Plus or minus?
150, yes.
So that would remove that, and I don't know Hennessy's policy if they have drinking outside.
They do,
And are they
on a patio.
on the patio, and are they open during school hours?
They serve breakfast and they close at 3 a.m., I believe.
Okay.
Not that I'm a regular visitor. I used to
So,
love their meatloaf on Thursdays.
so if a elementary school or a prep school is in that building, and if they have to go outside for anything, people can be drinking outside, at Hennessy's outside on the patio.
Well, it's no different than you taking your kids to a restaurant and people are drinking at a table next
Right.
door. So,
There's a place across the street, State Street, that sells alcohol too, I believe.
That has
A
outdoor.
restaurant parlor, yeah.
Right,
And the pizza place closed, but still, State Street's a factor as well.
right.
This thing's between the two. And then Chuck Lager's gone, but, you know, if somebody reopens that, that's also within that little sphere. So according to this chart we have up, this school, number 2, is a club establishment, 150 feet. So Hennessy's is not in compliance with that buffer, right, as it sits.
Which club, I'm sorry?
The club establishment's 150 feet. Is this the chart?
So if the
It's gonna be
alcoholic beverages was operating there and they moved there first and they continued their licenses, then the school can move in. So if we had another use, say a church moves in next to them, so churches are not prohibited currently, church moves into them. Church can still move in. There's no buffers for churches, but if Hennessy loses their license and somebody else, Chuck Lugger, wants to move into Hennessy's, they will not be able to because the church is operating right at their footsteps. So to prevent something like this, we're removing these buffers for mixed-use districts.
So this chart is going away.
This chart is going away for the mixed-use districts. Those mixed-use districts are, as indicated here in the map. So it will go away for the TCCR, will go away for TCCN, will go away for ROR, and it will go away for
Okay.
IPD. This is gray, light gray, and MUPD. So MUPD is right here. It's undeveloped right now, but IPD is industrial plain development. So any district that includes a variety of uses will not have these buffers. These buffers are already reduced for residential. They're non-existent for residential. You can have today, Hennessy's can have residential units on top of their building, and that's totally fine. So that's been already addressed for all of the residential. It's churches and schools that were exempted from this. So right now, we're going to remove that for all of the uses, including churches and schools, making it all equitable.
Well, then nobody will get hurt by that.
Nobody get hurt by that, correct?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I don't have any,
May I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
We're in discussion phase, which I forgot the last time. Sorry.
So if the alcohol, and I know you're going to have to review section 39, or one of the sections that.
Correct.
Chapter 39.
Chapter 39. So if we approve the removal of the alcohol, then there's still the issue of the loitering,
Yes.
depending on the research that's done on chapter 39, that Jack's Village would not be able to currently move in with what we have because of the possibly because of chapter 39, even if the alcohol restriction was lifted. Am I understanding that?
So I will review with staff chapter 39 and with our legal, and then we'll probably,
Well,
if
let
any
me add
amendments
to-
are needed.
Let me add something to that. Chapter 39 is not about alcohol. It's about child predators. So it establishes a safe zone around schools to keep predators away from children. It's not about the alcohol.
You said loitering, correct?
Yes, loitering. That's the terms that they use, but it's about predators.
So again, I mentioned we'll review with staff chapter 39, and if we see any issues with this, we'll be bringing the amendments of chapter 39 back to the board. So for now, it's just to address these buffers. Again, these buffers were already addressed for residential, but for some reason, churches and schools, they were still in that,
That was the
table.
reason.
And as part of I forgot to mention, as part of the ex parte communications, I did provide a quick answer to Ms. Kirby regarding this table, but I said, all I mentioned that this table will be removed from the current ordinance, or it's on the table, so, and then I directed Ms. Kirby to ask that question during the meeting, but I just wanted to mention it into the record.
Thank you. Any other discussion from the board?
I just have one more question. Just to clarify, because I think it's pretty clear, I just want to make sure I got this right. We're just protecting the businesses we have now and the businesses that may come in later.
Correct.
Right, so it's just so that if we have, like you said, we get a primary school or secondary school that comes in and they're able to come in and run their business, and like you said, if something were to happen with the
Exactly.
bar down the block or the restaurant, they would be able to come back in and there wouldn't be an issue. We're not limiting what is possible in these areas
Yes.
when it comes to that and hurting the businesses that are there or future businesses that may occupy, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Perfect,
Thank you.
yes.
All right, let's close discussion phase, and let's, we've made a motion, but the motion was vague. if you'd like to reiterate your motion to send toward council for recommendation for approval.
Sure. I make a motion to send CA 2403 City of Oldsmar Code Amendment to revise subsections 14.6.1, 14.6.2, and 14.6.6 alcoholic beverages, providing updated Florida statute reference, and section 14.6.3.2, addressing minimum distance requirements for certain mixed-use zoning districts to city council for approval.
Thank you very much. I seek a second.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye? Is that 3 ayes? We get that? All opposed?
No.
No.
3 nays, a
I'm sorry,
tie
is it
vote.
3 nays, or who are the nays, please? 2 nays. Motion passes.
No, I thought it was
Motion two.
three,
Or two.
3 nays.
No.
Was it 3 nays or 3?
It was
have-
3, it's a tie.
No.
Do-
I said, I voted yes.
Oh, I didn't hear you, I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
oh.
So, thank you, it's
Oh.
4 to 2, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, I move for adjournment.
Second.
Well, no second needed, let's go. Meeting is adjourned, thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain.